Turning now to our world lead, moments ago, President Trump called North Korea, quote, a real threat to the world. This is, of course, in response to Pyongyang's latest provocations as the USS Carl Vinson is now finally steaming toward the Korean Peninsula. The communist regime said over the weekend that it is ready to sink that aircraft carrier with, quote, a single strike. Also, yet another American citizen has been detained for unknown reasons by North Korea. Let's bring in CNN correspondent Will Ripley, who is the only American TV journalist reporting from inside North Korea. And Will, there are now 3 Americans in North Korean custody. Do we know what happened to the latest detainee?
Yeah, his name is Tony Kim, and he was a visiting professor at the Pyongyang University of Science and Technology. It's a school that often brings in foreign teachers, including Americans, to teach North Korean students funded by donations from the West. And apparently, after this teaching assignment ended, he was at the airport just steps away from boarding his flight when, as North Korean authorities have done in the case of other detainees, they pulled him aside, took him to an unknown location, and we still don't know where he is right now or what charges he's facing.
Now, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, said today that North Korea is using U.S. citizens who have been taken hostage or detained as bargaining chips. What can be done to get these Americans out of North Korea?
Yeah, well, you think about the other 2 Americans who are being held right now. Otto Warmbier, the University of Virginia student who is serving a 15-year sentence of hard labor for taking a political sign off the wall of the hotel and putting it on the ground. There's another American citizen, Kim Dong-chul, who is serving 10 years hard labor on espionage charges. The State Department warns that North Korea, especially right now, they consider this wartime law when dealing with the United States. So there's a real risk of undue prosecution and punishment, according to the State Department, if you are detained here in North Korea. In past cases of detainees, I remember when I interviewed Kenneth Bae, Matthew Miller, and Jeffrey Fowle, the Americans who were held here in 2014, President Obama sent James Clapper in a secret mission to retrieve Kenneth Bae and Matthew Miller. They also, the North Koreans, released Jeffrey Fowle shortly after our interview. But the difference between now and then is the level of tension and this wartime law. You also remember back in 2009 when it was Laura Ling and Yoona Lee, it was actually former President Clinton who came on a humanitarian mission meeting with the late leader Kim Jong-il to secure their release. So we'll have to see what the Trump administration plans to do.
And Will, it's Tuesday where you are in North Korea, yet another important national holiday, the 85th anniversary of the foundation of its army. We know that the Kim Jong-un regime, as with prior regimes, likes to celebrate holidays with displays or tests of military might or nuclear weaponry. What are we expecting this time?
Well, it's anyone's guess, isn't it? Because there was a lot of speculation and looking at the satellite images of North Korea's nuclear test site leading up to their last big holiday on April 15th, the Day of the Sun, that Kim Jong-un, the leader, could push the button on that 6th nuclear test, which didn't happen. He did attempt to launch a missile. That missile launch attempt failed. I wouldn't be surprised to see pretty much anything from a missile launch to the possibility of a nuclear test, even though it's interesting, the latest satellite images show what looked like volleyball tournaments happening at the nuclear test site. It could be that they have moved down their status from imminent test to standby mode, or it could be an attempt to deceive the outside world and try to keep everybody guessing about what Kim's next move will be. But certainly on important holidays, provocative actions, shows of force are something that North Korea has been known to do, so we'll have to monitor the situation here.
All right, Will Ripley live from Pyongyang, North Korea for us. Thank you so much.
I sent you my angel to watch over you.